So one of the things that I see often written about me when you guys comment on this podcast and on my book and, wherever people write comments about things, my Facebook page, one of the things I notice quite a bit is you guys thanking me for being so honest and so real and sharing so much of my own life and my own experiences with you guys in order to inspire other people to heal, or maybe at least make you feel a little bit less alone as you are healing. And so I will say, in the spirit of that, I come to you today in a really difficult place. As a lot of you guys know, if you follow the podcast, I have been dealing with issues around parenting my youngest daughter, who has struggled with a great deal of anxiety and panic this summer. And it's just been so exhausting. It's just been really hard to watch her suffer, to see how it touches into my childhood experience of suffering in the ways I suffered, in the ways I felt alone, in the ways I felt scared and panicked sometimes, and wanting also so badly. It's sort of like an occupational hazard, wanting so badly for her to get this TMS thing, not just for foot pain or not just for, body aches, but for anxiety and for understanding that she doesn't have to be so scared. But she's 11, and sometimes there's only so much we can do to impart what we want other people to get onto them. It's really hard, and it can be really heartbreaking. And that's kind of where I'm coming from today, because she's really struggling. She started school. It's not going poorly. It's just not going great. She had a really bad night last night, up all night, just with anxiety and with fear. And of course, that means I was up all night. But even though I'm really tired, the reason I wanted to come to you guys today is because I wanted to discuss the illusion of control. I have lived, honestly, almost my entire life until the past few years, and I'm 47, so that's a lot of years, thinking that if I controlled a situation, I was safe. And so many of you out there are shaking your heads right now. I know you guys, rather nodding your heads right now. See, I'm tired. I know you guys agree, because there is this illusion that we can control things. And there's this illusion that if we control things, that we will be safe. We will have a better outcome. We will be in less pain. Other people will treat us better. We will be less in danger of being hurt by others. We have this illusion. And it is exactly that. It is an illusion. And when I say that control isn't possible, I don't mean that you don't have free will. I don't mean that you don't have the ability to suit up and show up and go to situations in your life that require you to be a decision maker or bring your best self or direct the energy or, just be present, and in your presence be able to inspire others to be their best selves. That is all very, very important. I am not living by faith alone by any shot. I believe that in every moment I have to take the next right considered action. And as you guys often hear me say, life is a behavior modification program. You cannot feel your way into better feelings. You must act your way. So I'm not suggesting that we are under some crazy delusion that we have control and we have no control. We do have control of ourselves. We do have control of the next right considered action. But we don't have control about other people's outcomes. We don't always have control about our own outcomes. And we certainly don't have control about how other people feel or how other people act around us that leads us to feel a certain way. And I think that the illusion that we have control around things like that can lead to a lot of pain, can lead to a lot of physical pain being manifested in our bodies as a result of the tremendous despair that is generated from our failure again and again and again to control things. Do you guys get how huge that is? Imagine our despair if even unconsciously we believe that we can control the outcomes of our lives or of other people's lives or of the way other people feel. And then every time we fail, it just sinks us deeper and deeper into that space of, I'm hopeless. There's nothing I can do to feel better. And of course, that's not true. And you know me, No matter how sad and tired I am, we will always find a silver lining here, because I will talk about the solution, which there always is a solution, even for me, and I'll talk about that too. But the point is that to live in that illusion is to live in constant misery. And I always have to learn the hard way. So please do not think that I am preaching at you, because I always have to learn the hard way. So I'll get to that in a minute, but let's talk a little bit about where this illusion of control, where this need for control comes from. And I will tell you, from my childhood, I know that my need to control outcomes came from the powerlessness I felt growing up. Now, by definition, we are all powerless as children. We are not able to take care of ourselves. We're not able to make our own money. We're not able to make our own decisions on a lot of fronts. And so, yes, we are powerless as children by very nature of childhood. But we all have our own personal brand of powerlessness that comes from the situations that we were in. I have no ill will about the way I was raised. I actually think that it also created a lot of strengths in me. But one thing that did feel very powerless to me was how often I changed schools. My parents moved a lot. I was in brand new schools for kindergarten, 3rd grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 9th grade and 11th grade. Oh, sorry, in 10th grade. And the reason that in some of those schools were just natural when you go from like middle school to high school, but most of them were changing school districts. And I also went to several different summer camps. And so, I think that there was a sense that I got from all those different new beginnings of freedom. There was a sense of recreating myself, redefining myself, not having to make amends for some of the stuff that I did. When you get in a fight with your friend and it's time to move, oops, see ya, no need to sort that out. So, there was that for sure. But there was also this sense that I had to control how people were going to see me. I had to create this persona. And I really thought, kind of innocently for a long time, that if I just was good enough, if I just was smart enough, if I just was pretty enough, if I was just thin enough, if I was just charismatic enough, likable enough, sexy enough as I got older and in my later teen years, that my outcomes would definitely be okay. That is how I was going to keep myself safe. I was going to show up in every new situation. I was going to be so likable, so delightful, so delicious that everybody would love me, and then they would include me in their tribe, because being new all the time is terrifying, especially when we have such a human desire to connect, a human need to connect. And I was going to do that, and that was going to make me okay. And the problem with this illusion of control is several times, for every set of times you try it, it's going to work. It's going to work just because it happens that the next right considered action is something that you do that might fit into this illusion of control. Like if I am smart enough, I will go to a good college, which will put me in a good peer group. Well, sort of, right? I did really work hard in high school, and I went to a great university, and I still have friends to this day from that university who I adore, who are part of my circle that keep me safe and warm and alive. So that is true. But what's deceiving about the illusion of control is you aren't necessarily going to be at peace or have the kind of outcome that makes you feel like you're safe and growing just because you manipulate every situation as best you can. Sometimes you have to accept that where you are is where you are and be with that. Because even though I had a lot of good outcomes in my life, and I think I did gain a lot from being in all those new situations, it certainly created a lifetime of TMS that came down on me like a brick house when I was 19 in my freshman year of college. Like a brick house. I was disabled. Many of you guys know my story if you listen to this podcast or if you've heard me interviewed or all the different things that I've done to speak out, that when I was 19, my back went out so severely that my parents literally had to bring me home from college. I had to go home in order to see doctors and get tests and finally be diagnosed with spondylolisthesis, which set me on this entire journey. So a lot of positives, obviously, from that I sit here today able to carry the message. But the illusion that I could control every facet of my life landed me in an MRI machine in a tube at age 19, being given the kind of diagnosis that would chill anyone's bones. And so I guess what I want to do today, if you guys are in any space to hear it, is to explain what we can control and what we can't, and the mindset we need for a healthy version of where we have power in our lives. With my child, with my suffering child, here's the control that I have. I can, first of all, take care of myself. I can make sure, after she went to school this morning, I went back to sleep for an hour because I was up almost all night with her. I didn't have to do that. I could have powered through. I could have been like, there's too many things to do. I have to get to this, this, and this. I said, no, go back to bed. And I went back to bed with the intention that I would sleep as long as I needed it. I only got an hour before I woke up naturally, but I did that. I took a shower. I made some phone calls to people that could support me. I called her doctor so we can have a call at some point and discuss what needs to be done for her. So those are all things that are important. Those are things that I can control, and all of those go into self-care. Now, when she shows up, which is going to be soon, she's going to be getting off the bus. How can I control then that situation, or how can I do the next right considered action in a way that is healthy kind of control, which is the control of my behavior? I can show up to her with kindness. I can decide where my boundaries are. So even if I'm really sad, I don't need to cry to her about this. She doesn't need that burden. There are people I can cry to. I can treat her with loving kindness, but not too much, right? I can't over baby her because that doesn't help her either. I can be thoughtful, and I can be kind, and I can be present with her. This afternoon, I plan to sit down with her and make some lists. It's hard to journal with a little kid, but it's not impossible. We're going to do that work. And I'm tired and I don't feel like it, but I'm going to do that for her because that is what I know to be the next kind, loving thing to do. And that is where I have control. And that's kind of where it ends. Because what journey she is on and what path she needs to walk and what suffering she needs to go through to learn her own life lessons that she's going to carry through to whatever it is that she is going to be dealing with at each plateau in her life, that's not up to me. And that is where I need to let go of my need for her to have a certain outcome. Because when you need someone to have a certain outcome and they're not going to have that outcome necessarily despite all your best efforts, that's when you leave yourself in danger of having a lot of physical manifestations, otherwise known as TMS, of this emotional deregulation, these emotional predators, which are anger and sadness and shame and rage and terror. Those things live below the surface of our consciousness. Sometimes they're like icebergs and they peek out. Sometimes they're all the way down there. But little things like needing your kid to be okay when she is not ready to be okay can trigger that stuff. And what's really interesting is yesterday I was driving her and a friend after school, and I went to put something in the back of my car, and I closed the back, whatever, lift gate thing, and I walked around to the side of the car, and as I got in, I got such a, I won't call it a tinge, I got a stab of pain through my back. And it's really funny because I get a lot of symptom imperatives that kind of flow through my system. I never get back pain. It's very rare. And I was like, dude, if I'm getting back pain, I am really being triggered right now. And I know why. It's because even though I know that control is an illusion, I still miss it. I miss it like a warm blanket. I want it. It used to make me so safe. That illusion, temporary, safe in the unsafest way, as I like to say to you guys, but it used to make me feel like I was doing something. I was going to control the situation. I was going to manipulate the situation so other people would feel a certain way. God, it just doesn't work. I know I talk a lot about acceptance on this program, and I have to tell you, acceptance is the answer to all your problems today. I need to accept that right where I am with my daughter, right here, that's the place I need to be. I don't know what her path is. I don't know what the purpose of her pain is. I need to be with her in it. I need to be with. Being with can be the hardest thing in the world. So let's talk about you, because you are definitely listening to this because you are wanting to feel different than you are right now. And I get it. I get it. I get you want to control something. You want to not feel the pain that you're in, and I get that. So let's talk about what you can do. What is your next right considered action? Because I think that that is a healthy way to control. We control our own behavior. We control how we show up. So maybe you're resisting journal speak, or maybe you're doing your journal speak, but you're struggling with your belief because you don't feel like you're getting better quickly enough. Or maybe you're believing and you're journal speaking, but every time you're done journal speaking, you're just not nice to yourself. You're just judging yourself and blaming yourself and feeling as if, you could have done better. You shouldn't be so judgmental, or nice girls don't talk like that, or men should man up and not be such a wimp, and why are you complaining? That none of those things work. None of the facets of my work will be effective alone. So we need to combine them. So the first thing you can do to control the only thing you can control, which is your own behavior, is practice all three facets of my work, which is believe, do the work, patience and kindness for yourself, and then, of course, the third and a half facet, which is acceptance. And if anybody listens to this podcast, you hear about me talking about acceptance all the time. So if you're interested, go back and listen to other episodes. It will definitely crop up all the time. And I definitely have a YouTube video about it too. So how can you believe? Well, the first thing you could know is if you need a boost, aside from listening to this podcast, go read all the reviews on iTunes. Go read the reviews of my book on Amazon for The Meaning of Truth. People are getting better all over the world. If you can't believe for you, start by believing for other people, because everybody is the same. I get email after email of people saying, okay, I noticed that you talk about back pain, but can it work for neck pain? Oh, I noticed that you talked about irritable bowel syndrome, but does it work for anxiety? I heard you talk about knee pain, but does it work for pelvic pain? I'm telling you, my loves, most chronic illness comes down to your nervous system being in a sustained state of fight or flight and choosing your syndrome that you're experiencing as the lesser predator than your repressed emotions. And when those emotions are allowed to rise safely, you will no longer be in pain. The pain signals stop firing. So the first thing that you can do is gather belief any way that you can, whether it be from your heart, from other people's stories, from your faith, or maybe you're just going to suspend your disbelief and just do your best to carry on assuming that whether you can bring yourself to believe or not, you got no other choice, nothing else is working, and you can do this. And you have to try it because you have to try something different. Because as we always say, if you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you're getting. And you don't want what you've been getting. The next is you can just do your journal speak. The way I need to show up right now for my daughter, you guys can show up to the page. Show up to the page. If you are really struggling, show up morning and evening. My journal speak practice consists of a 20-minute journal speak practice plus 10 minutes of loving kindness meditation of your choice. And if you're curious about more detail, like I said, there's so many materials out there. Check out my website. Click on the resources page. So it's the Cure for Chronic Pain. Click on the resources page. Everything I have is linked there. And I have an online course on my website that I hear from all over the world rave reviews on. I am not just saying that because sometimes I forget what I put out there. I forget the details of my content. But the way I remember is I am hearing from you guys by the hundreds every day telling me this is working for me. Thank God. Thank you. So there's that for you. There's that help in doing the work. But show up to your journal speak practice at least once a day. If you're really, really struggling and you want to fast forward the process twice a day, I've been talking to people that do it first thing in the morning and then after they're done with their evening routine, maybe after dinner, before they're going to wind down for bed. It's a half hour total, the whole practice. 20 minutes of journal speak followed by 10 minutes of meditation. You can do that. That you can control. You can control fighting your resistance and showing up to the page. And then following that journal speak with a 10-minute meditation, bathing yourself in loving kindness. I am okay. Whatever it is that I feel and that I have felt toward people in my life, it's okay. I'm human. Anyone would feel that way if they had been hurt like I have been hurt. It's okay. I am whole. I am enough. If other people don't love me the way I need to be loved, I can start by loving myself, practicing self-compassion. Check out the work of Dr. Kristen Neff, Neff. She does beautiful work on self-compassion, which I respect tremendously. And then, when you're all done, just practice acceptance. Practice acceptance. You guys always probably hear me say my favorite line, Danielle Laporte, what if you didn't have to be any different than you are right now? Take a breath. Imagine. What if you didn't crave to be any different than you are right now? Because here is the sacred paradox. Transformation begins with the radical acceptance of what is. I really don't think I can say that enough times. You are where you are right now, my dears. You're right here. Don't try to be anywhere else because resistance is seen as fear. Desire to be well is read by the nervous system as fear. That is not helping you. More fear is not helping you. Love is helping you. There are only two energies in this universe, love and fear. The more you can bring yourself to choose love and tell the fear it can relax, it's not going to be left behind. Remember, as Elizabeth Gilbert tells us, we're not going to let it drive the bus. We're not going to let it pick the snacks. We're not going to let it map the route. Fear can come, but he gets buckled in the seatbelt and he can cry the whole way. But we're driving now. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys today. I'm not in the best place, so I hope this didn't come out like total junk, but I am just really wanting to share with you my heart that I am struggling right now not to control other people's outcomes and control the way I feel about how other things end up, and I hope you guys can do the same. And I am also working on showing up and controlling the one thing I can control, which is myself and my love and my caring for others. So with that, this has been The Cure for Chronic Pain with Nicole Sachs. If you're enjoying the podcast, please jump over to iTunes and rate and review it. Your reviews make my heart swell so big. And I will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.